Data governance and data management has become one of the most important activities that an organization needs to be able to do in order to become data driven. And because of this, we've seen the rise of data governance professionals, individuals that actually help companies be able to manage and govern their data. But now the biggest problem is that since this is such a new field that we are taking seriously only now, where does one actually learn about becoming a data governance analyst? Now, the good news is there is an organization that offers a certification called the CDMP, which stands for the Certified Data Management Professional Certification, right? So in today's video, we are going to explore the certification. We're first of all going to look at the requirements that you actually need to qualify to write the exam and the different levels. And on top of that, we're going to go through the detailed chapters of the CDMP test book. So I do have a digital copy of the test book. I'll take you guys through some of the chapters that you need to be aware of before you actually write the exam. And we're also going to look at the passing requirements for you to actually be certified. Now, without wasting any time, how's it, data fam? Welcome to Data with Clarence. Now, if you're new, please do not forget to like and subscribe so that you can see more content like this. Now, I'm going to go back to my screen and I'm going to start the presentation. For the CDMP, the website where you'd normally go to get more information about the certification is actually the cdmp.info. So if you go to cdmp.info, you should be able to find this website. So now I'm going to go into this website, right? So this website basically carries all the information that you need to know about the CDMP. Now, the first thing that you see as you get into the website is the number of people that have obtained the different levels of the certifications. You've got the associate level, the practitioner, and the master. You can see that the numbers actually do go down as you go up, right? So the CDMP stands for the Certified Data Management Professional. It is a globally recognized data management certification ran by the DAMA International Institute, right? So this certification really does give you a higher chance in getting into data governance and data management roles because it is a globally recognized. You passing this certification proves that you've went through the concepts and you understand the concepts that are actually required to execute data management and data governance activities. Now, the first thing you obviously want to do, we're going to go through the About certification. The CDMP has basically 3 different levels, as you've already seen. The first one is the associate one, which basically requires you to have about 6 months to about 5 years working experience. And the passing requirements is that you basically need to obtain a 60% pass on your data management fundamentals exams. So that's basically the first exam that you write as you prepare for the CDMP. So it's actually the first exam that you have to actually write. So it is one that covers all the concepts that are fundamentally in the book itself, right? And when you go to the practitioner side, you need about 2 to 10 years experience, which is why there's not so much people that actually have the certification because of the number of years of experience that you need to have to actually write it. You need about 2 to 10 years, right? But on top of that, you need to have passed your data fundamentals exam by 70%. Remember, the data fundamentals exam is the one that covers almost everything in the book. And you need to have passed 2 specialist exams. So I'm going to show you some of the specialist exams that you can actually write as you prepare for if you want to become a practitioner, right? But in terms of the pass mark, you need to get 70% on 2 additional specialist exams. Those are separate exams that you have to write in order for you to prove that you're a practitioner. The last one is the CDMP Master. Not a lot of people that actually have the certification. You need about 10 years working experience. But on top of that, you need to really contribute quite a lot to the space. And there's often things that you need to submit just to get this one, right? This one requires you to get an 80% pass on data fundamentals and also 80% pass on 2 specialist exams. So that is the requirement for you to actually pass this one. Of the exam information, look, you have to study the DAMA-DMBOK. So this is the book that you have to read. There's no other, let's say, material that you should be reading for preparing for the exam. I know there could be practice exams and all of that, but for the purpose of preparing for the exam, you have to read the DMBOK. It is the book that basically covers all the concepts that you need to know as you are preparing for the CDMP. I will go through the book in a few minutes so that you can see the different chapters that are actually covered. Now, what we've got here is really interesting because we can also see what are the mark allocation based on the different topics. So you can see that there's quite a significant amount allocated to data governance and also master data and reference data, data modeling, and data quality. So there's different weightings in terms of what is covered by for each of the topics. There's about 17 chapters, but the 14 topics that are actually covered would be these ones as of me doing the video. Please just check if you're watching this video a bit later, you might just want to check to see if it's actually still the same thing. But these are some of the core concepts that would be covered in the exam, right? And in terms of the structure of the exam, you need to basically write an exam. It's fully online. It's a fully online exam. It's going to have about 100 multiple choice questions. So the good news is it is actually multiple choice, and you've also got 90 minutes to actually complete the exam once you get started, right? So if English is not your main language, you can actually purchase other alternatives, right? So you are actually allowed to actually do that. So that is not really a problem if English is not the main language that you'd like to write the certification on, right? So there's more information about why you should really sort of certify and get the CDMP. But one thing that I'd say, this is a certification that really proves your profession in the data space, because it is a professional body, just like other sort of certifications have got some sort of professional bodies. I think the CDMP really is a great certification to actually have, just to solidify yourself. And sometimes some job applications normally would require you to have sort of written the CDMP, right? So that is it in terms of about the exam itself. The next part that you want to check out is the about exams. So if you go to the about exams, look, this is where you actually want to book for your exam. You can see that there's more information about the exam. As you guys remember, we've got the data fundamentals exam. So this is the exam that covers majority of the content in the DM book, right? So you have to use the DM book to actually prepare. They do provide practice exam questions, so you can also purchase that, but that also does come at an additional cost. But the exam itself is going to cost you about $311, right? And if you decide to do the specialist exams, you also need to pay the same price. So the specialist exams could be data modeling. So this would focus specifically on data modeling, then metadata, data quality, data governance, data warehousing, reference data, and data integrity, and all of that, right? So these are specialist exams that you would want to write as you want to elevate yourself to the next level. But in terms of preparing for the exam itself, they do provide practice questions that you can actually use to see how it's actually working. And in terms of getting the book, I think they do have a digital copy of the book. So I'm just going to go to maintenance over here. So if I go to maintenance, it will actually take me here. So this is where I can actually order the book. So you can actually order the book. They've got various copies. There's one that is 69, that is $79. So this is the digital copy. That's the one that I basically have. But you can also buy the physical copy, and they can also deliver it, but it can get quite pricey. But they also do offer it in different languages, so you can actually opt for that option. Now, in terms of what the book itself actually covers, so I actually do have a digital copy of the book, right? You can see that it is quite a long book. They've got about 590 pages. That's quite a lot. It's a very comprehensive book, but the content is really great. I do not want to lie about that, right? So in terms of the chapters that you cover, chapter 1, it's data management. This is where you get introduced to what is data management, and you look at the different frameworks around data management. Chapter 2, you learn about data handling. How do you handle data ethically and laws and all of that. Chapter 3 is basically data governance, right? This is really the core of the book. You learn, I think it's about 11% that is actually going to be weighted for this particular section. So you really do want to spend a bit more time understanding what is really data governance and what is data governance all about. Then you proceed to chapter 4, which is on data architecture, right? Data architecture, really interesting sort of section, which is about how organizations can get to a point where they understand the kind of data they've got and design documents or diagrams that illustrate that. Then chapter 5, you go to data modeling and design. Look, data modeling and design, it's one of my favorite chapters. Really great if you want to enhance your understanding of data modeling and design. This is going to be a really great chapter. Chapter 6 is data storage and operations. This is really on the database side. What is database? And the more on the technical side of the technology that is actually required to sort of store the data, right? And on chapter 7, right? So chapter 7, this is about data security. So chapter 7 is actually more on you just learning about data security. That's the core thing about chapter 7. It's just data security. And it tends to be a bit on the security side more than anything, but it is a great chapter. Then you've got chapter 8, which is about data integration and interoperability, right? This is really about how there's data integration, data transformation. There's a lot of data engineering actually involved in this, but this is also another really, really, really great chapter. The next chapter that you also want to check out, well, you have to read all of the chapters, right, to prepare for the exam. Chapter 9 is about document and content management. This is more about on the documentation side, making sure there's consistent vocabulary and all of that. It's really more on the documentation side, but it's really important for data governance. And the other one, chapter 10, is actually reference and master data. So this is when you get an introduction to understand what is reference data and what is master data all about. Then you've got chapter 11, which is data warehousing and business intelligence. This one does not need an introduction. We all know what is data warehousing and business intelligence. One of my favorite also, I might just add there. Chapter 12 is about metadata management. So this is where you learn about what exactly is metadata and how do you manage metadata as an organization. And then you go to the chapter 13, which is on data quality management, really great chapter. And you go to chapter 14, big data and data science. We are not leaving the data science people. Data science is important. So you will also learn a bit more about data science. And chapter 15, we've got data management and maturity assessment. This is really about managing data, but also doing assessments on how far an organization actually is in terms of their management of their data. Then you go to chapter 16, which is on data management, organization, and role expectation. This is more about planning how the organization is really going to manage data and who's going to be taking on what role. I think that's what that basically speaks about. Then the last chapter is data management and organizational change management, right? This is really about now, how do you then change an organization to, align to those roles and also make sure that data governance is actually implemented properly, right? So those are the basically different chapters that you'll be exposed to as you read this book. It's a very large book with so much content, about 590 pages, so just be prepared to actually read. But the book is available online. You can also buy it, as you've already seen there. But this is what I'm going to say. The CDMP is a great way for you to get started in preparing for, let's say, becoming a data governance specialist. It is an amazing book, and not just for data governance people, but data professionals overall. It is a great book that offers so much insights. I'm currently reading it and I'm really enjoying the book, right? But in a nutshell, this is the book that you need in order for you to start your journey in becoming a data governance specialist. Now, if you like this content, guys, please do not forget to subscribe, because I will be doing more videos like this. I speak about data science, data governance. So if you like and subscribe, you will get notified whenever there's new videos. But thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next video.